The Forgotten Nightmare, written by the Silent One. It started the same way at the end of the day. I was afraid to fall asleep. The night catcher above my bed hung with desperate hope the nightmares would end. The crystals arranged on my nightstand with the intention to remove any negative emotions that surrounded me. With a silent prayer barely past my lips in anticipation this would be the night it would finally stop. I lay in bed nervously, waiting for my body to fall asleep and my mind drifts away, still noisy with the what-ifs of the day events and probable future of what to come. Slowly my eyes got heavy with my last thoughts on a dreamless night. But one can only imagine that sweet simple wish. Then it started again. This time, I was in my room laying on the bed, confused but awake, or so I thought. An outline of a door illuminated on the wall facing my bed. The air grew heavy and cold. My breath quickened, trying to rationalize what was really happening. I was awake. This could not be real. It could not, right? The door materialized, my eyes fixated on it, waiting for what could happen next. I tried to speak but I lost my voice. My chest and arms felt heavy, and I could not move. I panicked, trying to figure out how to move from this, how this can be happening right now. I was in my room. I kept thinking. The energy in my room shifted, it was heavy and dark. My despair grew. I was desperate, unable to speak. Trying to remember the prayers I used to recite when I was a child for protection, but the words were distant. I started to cry, hoping someone would hear me. My neighbor, my roommate, someone. The door started to open, creaking bit by bit and the light behind slowly piercing my dark room. "Make it stop, please," I begged silently. The tears falling non-stop. Long fingers heavily gripped the opening of the door. I watched in horror as it was pushed further, exposing what was coming into my bedroom. What emerged wasn't a monster of shadow or teeth, but a figure of pure, suffocating dread. It was tall and gaunt, yet its form seemed to distort the very air around it, making the walls of my room ripple and warp. There were no discernible features, just an endless, echoing blackness where a face should have been, a void that seemed to drink the light it cast. As it took a slow, deliberate step into my room, the oppressive silence grew, thick and suffocating. It wasn't just in the room, it was in my head, a silent scream that was my own, yet wasn't. I could feel my mind fraying, the edges of reality dissolving into a terrifying, formless despair. Then, with a jolt that felt like my soul being ripped from my body, I was back. My eyes flew open, my chest heaving, gasping for air as if I'd been drowned. I was drenched in a cold sweat, my heart hammering against my ribs. I scrambled upright, frantically patting down the bed sheets, my arms, my face, ensuring I was truly here, truly awake. The nightcatcher still hung, mocking my desperate hope. The crystals still sat on the nightstand, useless. I flung myself from the bed, my legs shaky, stumbling to the window to yank back the curtains, desperate for the first sliver of dawn. But the world outside was still plunged in the deepest, most unforgiving night. My eyes darted to the clock beside my bed. 11:58 p.m. Only an hour. An entire eternity of terror, of paralysis, of soul-shattering dread, and only an hour had passed since I'd closed my eyes. The thought hit me like a physical blow. It wasn't morning. It wasn't over. The night was still long, cold, and utterly endless. My breath hitched, a raw, primal scream tearing through my throat, not of fear, but of an overwhelming, desolate frustration. Why? I sank to the floor, my hands tearing at my hair, the tears streaming freely now, no longer for fear of the dream, but for the inescapable, agonizing reality that the night was barely beginning, and I would have to endure it all over again. There was no escape, not even in waking. Have you ever encountered something like this before? For me, this is one of my many nightmares I had and have experienced. You are not alone in this never-ending affair.